Welcome to a continuation of the Boise State Project Management Risk Program. In Module 5 of our program, we're going to be looking at quantitative risk. Those are the risks that are the high value, and those are the risks that try to summarize the total risk on the project. Not all projects go through these, so let's take a time and learn this critical area of risk management. Again, our reference is PMI, Project Standards for Risk Management. So a key point that we look at this area is to use as needed. If you need this kind of activity, it's a good thing to do. But understand that it's going to take a tremendous amount of effort to understand all of your risk, use the tools properly, and come away with a value. So the question is there an ROI? And again, it's not required or appropriate for all projects and all risk. If your project needs this type of analysis, it will take some of the following key points. You'll need complete representation of the objectives of the project. You have to have done a complete job of individual risk. You should include generic risks that have broader effect than individual. And you need to apply the techniques of the qualitative methods, which was in Module 4. What are some of the business drivers or management data for understanding the total project risk? You want to compare, obviously, to the project baseline, what your plan was originally. Probability of meeting objectives, that's always an important one. Contingency funding, do you need more? Do you need less? Have you managed these kind of activities? Where are your areas of risk concentrated? And what is always a key point and should be asked in all review meetings of a project manager, what individual risk contributes most to the overall project risk? Or basically the question is, what risk keeps you up at night the most, thinking about to make this a success for your project? In this slide, we tried to put down a comparison of the two methods. Again, qualitative should be done on all risk activities. So you look at the individuals, the discrete, how you prioritize, you add to the risk registers, and this is the input to the next section. So qualitative is combined effects of risk. You use probability distributions, you use project models, you use specialized tool, your estimating is likelihood of meeting targets really important, and you identify risk with greater effect on overall project risk activity. Again, the question to always ask, does my project need it? Is it justified? Is it the right use of my company's or project's money to do this kind of detailed analysis? In many cases, yes. In many cases, no. So as we look at risk, as we start from the top, work our way down, it's important that we understand the prior risk identification. We use the appropriate project model. We're committed to collecting high quality data. We use unbiased data. We've talked about that before. Let's make sure we see this with open eyes and tools. And what we're really looking for is that overall risk derived from individual risk. What's that relationship? How do they all fit together? This is an area where the tools help us with that kind of process. How do all the risks tie together for the total project risk? In this slide, we tried to summarize the requirements for the tools and techniques, all the way from comprehensive, impact, analysis, data gathering tools, presentation, they're iterative, and the important thing is to make sure you're ready is for the next critical step in the process, which is information for planned response. In this area, which is somewhat complex at times, we look at how we prioritize our risk. We're doing that qualitative risk. We're examining the relationship. We're collecting high quality risk data. Our project model is understanding how the project all fits together, which includes schedule, cost. And we're doing this quantitative risk, which could be simulations, decision trees, Monte Carlo. And what we're really trying to come out of this is that high level management questions to be asked of how likely we are for success. Do we need contingency fund? What risk has our high priority? So we're trying to find those, really call out and find those high priority risks. Whereas a project team and as an MBA and a manager, you need to put all of your focus onto. Again, as we've done in most of the modules, we're going to go review the tools in this area with their strengths, their weaknesses, and critical success factors. Decision tree analysis is a really important tool for your MBA toolbox. It basically helps you break down the alternatives you have. The big thing on decision tree analysis is you're using expected monetary value, which we'll cover next, and you're branching out. There's some, there will be some really good tools we'll talk about in class, and we'll add to the Blackboard area. But this is areas where you diagram and try to figure out what's your decision and what probability you have in that area. That's a tool I think you should all use. Expected monetary value and decision trees are used together. What we're trying to do in the expected monetary value is, and the other tools of decision tree, is to understand, after we've done the probability and the impact, what's the financial or the cost to that alternative. We're looking to understand the cost with all these risks. Now this is an important area for you, not just in project management, but all areas of MBA study. A popular one in many texts is the use of Monte Carlo simulation. As we've talked about, this is a good tool, but it does have some very strong needs, quality data, understanding. In many cases, it's very expensive. It requires special teams to come in and use it, and your time for the data can be very long. So Monte Carlo simulation is good if you have the time, the investment, and your stakeholders need that high quality data. An area that we can all use in risk management as we look at risk is to go back and look at the past project historical data. What did we learn? Are we going to see that same problem again? Don't be afraid to ask those really hard questions like, where did we go wrong before? What have you seen? And ask the key sponsors and team members, what do you think are those big issues? These are good ways to build a very strong risk structure. This next tool is called System Dynamics. It does require specialized software and expertise to build the models. Again, if you hear this tool, we recommend that you do some searches on it, get some help to understand it. It's used in very specialized cases. It is expensive, it does take time, but where needed, this tool can make a major contribution to your project and your business. We've now completed the analysis of our risk from the risk register. Again, we captured the risk, placed them in the risk register. We then went through and did analysis on those with qualitative and quantitative to come up with our total list of risk. Now we're moving forward to risk planning. This is a key area for us to then develop a strategy, which is really the important part.